It is not their wish that they were displaced. It is because of the unrest back home.
Politics of emptiness, because people don't see that the politics must address the needs of human beings other than the addressing the differences amongst people.
Most ended up in neighboring countries like Uganda for safety. For peace to prevail back home, these refugees want just more than signatures.
I don't believe in those agreements because they are signed by politicians with interest.
They have left their homes and families behind to seek safety and a new beginning. To many of these refugees, the journey to Uganda is often long and tedious.
To bring lasting peace is to ensure that public interest is taken into account.
Thanks are to the government of the day, Uganda is peaceful. To the extent of extending the gesture to other countries, the country continues to host asylum seekers and refugees.
Uganda has been peaceful thanks to the NRM government, which has tolerated differences and allowed our citizens to vote, allowed free expressions of opinion and so forth, and therefore our state is able to maintain peace. And definitely as a peaceful country, then most people want to run here.
Uganda's refugee settlements may provide a sense of community and security, but conditions are often challenging. Refugees face limited access to resources, including food, water, and health care. It is an international crisis.
Some of the wealthy countries, particularly in Africa here, like Congo, their wealth are being robbed, and therefore it is in the interest of those robbers to see that Congo is unstable. Otherwise, if they have an organized government who protects their citizens and protect their wealth, those people will not be able to steal those wealth.
The gospel has been on for countries where these refugees are generated to embrace peace. But the peace is still in short supply. Majority of refugees are hosted from the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan. In the quest for where the missing link is, we fly to Geneva in Switzerland. To speak to us is the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees.
I think that the most important is for the international community to have better systems to stop conflicts, even to prevent conflicts from happening. You know, the system, the international system, conflict resolution system, peace and security system was established after the Second World War, long time ago, almost 80 years ago. That system served us for some decades, but it needs to be strengthened. It needs to be reformed, renewed.
Uganda's Minister for Relief, Disaster Preparedness and Refugees, Engineer Hilary Onek, is in agreement.
Selfish leadership, selfish individuals who want to thrive on those cheap, primitive principles create divisions among their people, and therefore creating those kind of situations of ethnic challenges. And therefore, then the vulnerable people now run for their lives. And that's how they end up in countries like Uganda, which has over the last 30 years plus have been stable.
Uganda's policy on refugees remains open door. This implies refugees can come in as and when they feel not safe. This, however, should not be taken for granted.
Sometimes I also wonder when I go to ask for resources for Uganda and I don't get enough. And then I say, don't take that hospitality for granted. It has been generous, it has been advanced, visionary, forward-looking, but it's a burden for Uganda. So don't take it for granted. Help Uganda.
I think they have to be brought to order. Globally, they have to be brought to order so that there is peace everywhere. Unless that is done, whether through other means, and they are sanctioned and brought to order, they will still continue generating refugees for peaceful countries like Uganda.
South Sudan, for example, is set to hold elections towards the end of this year, 2024. This is being organized as one of the avenues towards ushering in total peace. As to whether this will work out for the people of South Sudan, the answer is both yes and no.
Of course, it is good that South Sudan continues to follow a democratic path and asks its citizens to resolve their differences through the ballot box and not through the guns.
South Sudan, in my view, needs a lot of political, ideological, or in a kind of advocacy and indoctrination and changing the mindset of that population in order to attain peace. It's not about just mere elections. We have the mindset of those traumatized people have to be changed.
Ugandan communities have equally welcomed refugees with open arms and shared whatever little they have. This, however, has come with its own set of challenges which need to be addressed as the world looks forward to celebrating World Refugee Day.
And I will be visiting South Sudan. And I want to really highlight how complicated these situations are and how much we must multiply efforts to solve the crisis, but meanwhile to help the victims.
Uganda's refugee story continues to be one of resilience, hope and hospitality, providing shelter to about 1.5 million of them. The gesture remains a brotherly example, serving as a beacon of hope for a more compassionate and inclusive world. Henry Okrut, UBC.